everybody, this is Ginger and this is Ginger's Chat Show, and I hope everybody's doing well. It's cooled off quite a bit today. We're now down to, what they say, let me check here. We're right now at 77. Yesterday it got up to 94, and it was like close to 100 in here, and I was like, no. I wished I had lived in a tiny home that had AC. I'd be happier than a lark. Anyway, of course you noticed I got bags in my eyes. I didn't get much sleep last night because it had been so hot. And I hope to go to bed earlier today or tonight and sleep in tomorrow. Loki kept waking me up, and of course he wasn't sleeping very well either because of the heat. Now that it's cooler, he's sleeping under the bed and he's getting his rest now. So anyway, there's a number of events that happened. Of course, you know, Trump is Taco Don. I'm going to start using Taco Don now, or Idiot Don. He's supposed to go up to Elmendorf Air Force Base up in Anchorage, in Alaska, to meet with Putin. And somehow Trump thought that Alaska belonged to Russia. It doesn't belong to Russia, it belongs to the United States. Years ago, Alaska was sold to the United States by Russia because Russia needed the money. And so they sold this is prior to, let's see, let me check something really good here. Okay, look up the history here, just hold on a second. Okay, Alaska was purchased on March 30th, 1867 from Russia for $7.2 million. As referred to as Alaska's purchase or steward's folly. And so anyway, that's happened there. This is way prior to anything else. This was like 2 years after the end of the Civil War. But the U.S. bought Alaska from Russia because the Tsar in Russia, they were getting low on money and they were not really settling people in Alaska because they felt it wasn't really part of Russia. So they sold the land to U.S. Then in the ensuing years, and getting things up there and supplies and everything else, there was a highway known as the Alcan Highway or the Alaska Canadian Highway was built, and most of it was gravel. And how I knew this is when my parents drove from, when Dad retired, he drove from Elmendorf back down to Washington State. Well, a good majority of the freeway, or the highway, was gravel. So it was like, if I can remember right, there were like 3 times he had to replace the windshield on the Volkswagen Bug. And that was the only travel. Dad did not want to take the transport. They offered him transport, air transport, but he says no. Because he's got a number of things, and he has a dog, and, me and my sister and Mom. So we drove down to Alaska, and it was much easier. Everything else was shipped by moving van. Um, and of course, the Air Force paid for that. Uh, and then Dad finally officially retired from the Air Force when we got there. Um, but anyway, I called this type of meeting a so-called meeting. And as always, I'm one of old Taco Don will taco. In other words, um, you always seem to back down or run away when confronted. And wonder if Putin is really going to meet there. Now, why the two of them shut out Ukraine, which the subject is about Ukraine, I think Ukraine should be in the meeting. Say, hey, guys, and to say it right to Putin's face, here, you started the war. You could stop it. And that's what Russia should do. That's what Putin should do. He should stop the war. He should just say, nope, no more. And just pull all the troops out. Pay Ukraine back for all the damage they've done and people that they murdered and everything. And, in other words, pay reparations to Ukraine. And stop land grabbing. Because that's what Putin is doing, is land grabbing. He was creating an excuse to start the war. Well, right now, Ukraine is beating the crap out of Russia. They don't really have a navy anymore because they sank a number of their ships. Ukraine did. Quite a few of the troops have died, including Russia's generals. I'm talking about the Russian side. I'm not talking about the Ukraine side. On the Russian side, okay? And frankly, I think the meeting should be held on an iceberg. And make Trump sit down on the iceberg in the cold. And make Putin sit down there on the cold. Just the two of them there. None of their advisors or aides or anything else. Just the two of them there. And when the meeting's over with, then they can go back to their respective nurseries. Taco Don is really he's still trying to be relevant. But he's not relevant. He never has been. Okay? Because right now he's trying to do all these distractions, especially on the Epstein files, and just release them. And just move on from that. And he's always covering up upon covering up. Well, sooner or later it's going to catch up with him. And he's trying to federalize the DC police. You can't federalize the police departments. Police departments belong to the people in the state. They don't belong to the federal government. Never has and never will. Trump never, again, as I said a number of times, Trump has never really learned how things work. You know, what goes with what works with what, you know, procedures, protocols, that type of thing. He's never learned that. Okay? and federalizing the police and everything else. In other words, he's trying to scare people. Well, it doesn't scare people. It makes people pissed at him. Because why do you think all the protests are happening? And I think we should do more protests. Make it so big, the police say, not going to happen. Even tell the National Guard to go home. And the mayor should tell the National Guard to go home. And they have no business being there. And there is a junction against Trump for doing stuff like this. Well, they should make it permanent. It's called the Posse Commerce Act. And Trump is violating that. Well, there should be some teeth in that violation called jail time. You just don't do that. And people, his aides and his handlers should tell him, no, you cannot do that. So what? He throws a temper tantrum. Let him. But say, no, you can't do that. Ever. And he needs to be told that to his face. Go, nope, not gonna work. Not gonna happen. And if he throws a temper tantrum and say to him, oh, just grow up. You know, I see more and more people are waking up. And more people are fighting back. I love Gavin Newsom when he did his little press release from his office. And he was mimicking and mocking Trump. You know what Trump does? Well, he's doing the same thing back to him. But this time he puts truth in there. And when you put the truth in there, Taco Donnie can't do anything. It just makes him mad. Yeah. So what? So, we need to push back. We need to tell Congress to push back. And the MAGAs need to start crawling back under the rock where they came from. And or just sit down, shut up, and let those in Congress to do their jobs. Because right now the MAGAs are interfering with their jobs. And I think now Mike Johnson should not be Speaker of the House. I think Hawking Jeffrey should be Speaker of the House. He'll whip things back in place so fast it wouldn't be even funny. And we need a new president. And we need to get back with our allies. We need to put back everything the way it was. Because it worked just fine. So why change something if it's not broken? If it's not broken, just leave it alone and let it do what it needs to do. I'm glad to see the mayor of D.C. putting her foot down and telling Trump, you can't do that. No. And Congress should be told, as I said before, Congress should be told, grow a spine or grow a brain. Impeach him. He's broken the laws. Not only he endangers everybody else, but he's also endangering you. You think MAGAs would understand that bullies will turn on you in an instant? You shouldn't trust a bully. And right now, they're kind of trusting a bully. I don't like bullies. I hate bullies. And I have dealt with them. And now I end grade school. Not so much in junior high anymore, but junior high and high school, there was one that kept pestering me, but he got into trouble. He got booted from school. He was expelled, which was good. But we need to stop them. We need to stop Trump. So keep insisting, persisting, and pushing back. Watch Minus Touch and get real news, and then start yelling at the legacy media and say, hey guys, let's show both sides of the story and let people make up their own minds. Let's go back to the fairness doctrine that was established. And the FCC director better start going back to the fairness doctrine. Stop censoring. Get the truth out there and let people make up their own minds. That's simple. Okay? I don't like censoring. Okay? If people don't want to watch it, fine. If they don't want to listen to it, fine. If they don't want to read it, fine. You know? But stop censoring FCC and the news media, the legacy news media, which I mean by ABC, NBC, and CBS. Stop censoring. Oh, into the social platforms like Facebook. You need to stop picking on people that tell the truth out there. You're forgetting why you set up this platform, right? So be careful, Facebook. You keep that up, you'll start losing people, and people will go to other social platforms. People don't like being censored. And there's common sense in everything. You know, common sense and manners and everything. And Facebook keeps putting out these community standards. Well, Facebook, if you put out community standards, you will follow them too. You follow those community standards. If you're not going to, then what's the point of being in social media? Okay, well, let's see, let me check my calendar. Hold on a second here. Okay, I will see you on Friday, August 15th at 1 o'clock. For my chat show. Hope all is well. Stay safe, take care, and those along the eastern seaboard, and those especially in Florida, in North Carolina, and South Carolina along the coast, keep your eye to the ocean because Aaron is coming your way. He said that's what it's showing right now, but they're not really sure. It's still out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, so keep an eye on it. The National Weather Service and NOAA is keeping an eye on it. Because right now it's a tropical storm, but it will change into a major hurricane. So just prepare yourselves. Make sure all the hatches are battened down and tied up so nothing doesn't go flying and things are safe. So take care. So I will see you later. I'll see you on Friday. Be sure to insist, persist, and push back. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Tell your friends. It's free to subscribe. There's no fee or anything involved in subscribing. Subscribe because I need more subscribers. I'm at 63 right now, but I'd like to get up to at least 1,000 or more. Because I want this channel to grow. Okay? And eventually I will start doing merchandising on this channel. Of course, some of you know I did have my store, my Ginger Store and More store. I shut that down especially with Wix and Shopify. I shut that down because of all the tariff issues and confusion and everything, and even they themselves were confused. And I have not, when I was with Wix, there was really no information coming out of Israel. So I just shut it down, just cut it off, and maybe, hopefully, when things get back to normal, I may restart my store again. But I want to do my merchandising through my channel. Okay? So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know on my YouTube channel or through my Facebook channel. So, okay, I'll talk to you later. Love you all. Bye-bye.